Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to the Moving Markets Podcast. It is Wednesday, August the 6th, 2025. And at the time I'm recording this, the markets are just about, let's call it about 3 minutes away from closing for the day. Normally, I do the podcast live on Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. But I found myself without internet connection until just recently today. So it has been rough. Everything I've been doing, some of the correspondence I've had with some of you, checking on my positions, putting on the new position on Palantir this morning, etc. I've been doing it all off my phone until just literally the last 15, 20 minutes. So my apologies for no live presentation today. I should be live tomorrow morning, barring any trouble or any issues with internet. Everything seems to be back on and working the way it's supposed to now. So here we are, like I said, just about 2 minutes now away from the closing of the market. We've got the Dow Jones Industrial Average actually up about 83 points right now. This is just a little bit behind. I've got my TV on in front of me with the live ticker. It's not very far off. That's pretty close. S&P up 46, which is really a good day, 0.75%. And the NASDAQ up almost 1.25%, 250 points approximately. It's been a good day all around for stocks with a couple of obvious exceptions. AMD down 6.5%, down $11. That's actually really good for the trade that we put on AMD. We're looking good and very much in the plus column on that trade. Our Shopify trade was phenomenal. Shopify up 21, almost 22% as of right now. And it might have been a little bit higher than that at one point in time during the day. It opened up strong today, trading right up there towards its session high. And the long iron condor that we had on that, I triggered out of that with my full limit order right at the open this morning. So those items looking really, really good. Our Google trade looking much, much better today. Still needs a little bit of oomph to it. And then I think that's I'm going to talk about the Q trade here in a minute. But today, I think you've got the markets up strong today because no more talk about tariff stuff. The tariff conversation was hot for a day or two, and then it kind of fades away and disappears a little bit. And I think the market is becoming more and more resilient to the trade talk, to the trade talk and tariff talk specifically. So it's just people just aren't getting as worked up about it as they were, even though there are short-term impacts from the news that we get. It doesn't seem to be something that is lasting and really driving markets. There, you might have just in the background heard the closing bell. So the markets are officially closed. The three major indexes, the price on those will jump around a little bit for the next couple of minutes. But this is what you've got on the screen right there is pretty close to where it's probably going to settle for the day. Not a lot going on with news that's driving the market. So let's go back to talking. I already started talking about a couple of our trades that we have on. Let's go back to talking about those a little bit. I sent out an adjustment late last night, so hopefully you did this morning. We took the 510 strike price October short call on CrowdStrike, rolled it down to a September 470, picked up about, I want to say that we got somewhere in the neighborhood of $5.50 in credit on that. So our cost basis is down to a pretty nice, manageable place. Now, CrowdStrike had a big move up today, 2.5% up almost $10. But CrowdStrike has done this several times in this overall downtrend. A number of times they've had some good days in the midst of not much of a changing trend, even as much as today was up. That trend right there is relatively steady, not changing. And CrowdStrike doesn't report in the traditional earnings season. So CrowdStrike doesn't report earnings again until, get that to refresh here. My internet still seems to be going a little bit slow. that doesn't want to fill in. Yeah, how about that? No earnings date for CrowdStrike. We'll pull it up a different way. But anyways, I know they don't report right away. There's a little bit of time out there before CrowdStrike reports again. 8/26 is the estimated day, but I think earnings Whisper. So bizarre that doesn't have a date on that, because I was looking at it just the other day, but it just won't fill in right now. Anyways, CrowdStrike doesn't report at least for a couple more weeks, and so I think this trend is likely to just settle and stay where it's at. We will most likely, if we're still in this trade, which I anticipate we will be, we will make another adjustment to CrowdStrike before the earnings date. Let me talk a little bit about the new trade that we put on. We've got a new trade on Palantir, and you should have all been able to get into this trade pretty easily unless you were waiting for a more detailed explanation on it. And these are the, I got to put the accurate prices that I got in the trade at, because this is just simply where it finished today. But we did a leap bull call calendar. 175 long calls clear out in June of next year, 180 short calls that expire next month on the 19th. My expectation, the reason I set up the trade this way, I don't need to explain the trade, but let me give you the reason behind this trade. I think Palantir, I think the earnings was phenomenal. I think these 2 strong days of upward movement in a row are a wonderful thing. And if that continues, I'm already profitable in this Palantir trade. In fact, let me put in the prices real quick that I got filled at this morning. On Palantir, I am in here at 842 and 36.29. That's my actual fill price. I don't know why that is saying something's wrong there. I don't know why that's saying that's negative. I know why that's saying that negative, because this is supposed to be the sell and this is supposed to be the buy. There we go. I know I'm looking at my account on a different screen, and I show that just on a couple of contracts, I'm up $1,000 today. So, and that's what we did that's what I did was 2 contracts today. So, this has still got to be off a little. Oh no, I'm sorry. That's my overall increase on Palantir, not just the. Sorry, that's my including my Palantir spread trade from the triple play. So this is up about this $256 right here is pretty accurate for the 2 contracts I have. So, all right. Anyway, the reason behind the trade. Let me get back to that. I believe Palantir is a phenomenal company, but the forward PE ratio is ridiculously high. I do think sometime this month, Palantir is going to pull back a little bit. I think you could see a little bit of a meltdown over time. I don't think it's going to come in a day or 2 or 3, but I think it's going to pull back to around 165 or 160. Now I could be wrong, and if I am, we'll be profitable in this trade. I'm not worried about it, but and I'm not. If we continue to move up and close above that 180, I'll roll that September short call out to October and move it up to 185 or 190 and do it for some additional credit. I don't mind playing a trade like that. That worked incredibly well for us with one of the last trades we got into at the end of last calendar year. That's a large part of our annual gain was that Palantir trade. But if they do have this little meltdown that I think they'll have, I don't think it'll be dramatic. I think it'll be some profit taking. They'll move out of overbought territory. That PE ratio will come a little more in line, so to speak. Because right now it's ridiculously high. But when that happens, it may give us an opportunity to buy to close that September short call, or we might see that September short call expire worthless, and then we'll figure out where to put the next long call. If we can buy to close the September short call or see it expire worthless, we might let a long call run for a little bit and then do some type of a synthetic collar around earnings or do something like that. I do think Palantir before the end of the year will be a $200 a share stock or more. And we could make, just like we did with our first Palantir trade, we could make a lot of profit on that trade, and I mean a lot. So I think that's kind of what I'm looking forward to and looking at with Palantir. On the triple play side of things, I mentioned Shopify, got our full profit, got out of Shopify. I'll get these filled in. Palantir's looking fantastic. Dash, I think, is reporting, I want to say either right now or tomorrow morning, and AMD is looking good. Google looking much improved, and Tesla had a nice move up today. In fact, such a move up that the bull put that we adjusted into is now fully out of the money, and we've got a technical crossover here on the here on the RSI. The 5 and 20-day moving average is close, and you can see we've kind of rounded the corner and are really close to a cross on the MACD. So I do think Tesla is probably going to go back up and test somewhere in this neighborhood of 335 again over the course of the next week. So I think we're going to be in really good shape on that trade. We're still going to take a loss on the Tesla trade, but it's going to be a much, much smaller loss. So for those of you that are still in Tesla, hold tight. Don't do anything with Tesla right now. That may change as early as tomorrow morning if Tesla is selling off tomorrow. Got to talk about this Q trade, the one we did in the spread trade portfolio. And the good news with the Q trade is it doesn't expire until the end of next week. The bad news with the Q trade is that after we put it on, we got a day that really charged ahead and moved up, a week that was looking like it was going to be up, and then 2 days that brought it all crashing down, and now it's very gradually moving back up. There is still time for the Qs to get back up to 575. And today was a big help in that. Today, up 7 points. That's a 1.25%. It would only take cumulatively that much more over the course of the next 3 or 4 days, and we'd be looking at being right close to our guaranteed target profit spot on the Qs. My concern is that over the course of the next week and a half, we're not just going to steadily continue up. I think you're going to get something that could look, I'm worried that you get something that looks like this, that we have a week and a half where you get an up day, a down day, an up day, a down day, an up day, a down day, an up day, a down day. And that, a week and a half from now, we just end right in the neighborhood that we're in right now. That is my biggest concern. For those of you in the Q trade, I'm not going to make an adjustment tonight for tomorrow morning's open. I'm optimistic that tomorrow's going to be another bullish day. We'll see. We'll see what happens in terms of economic calendar. We're going to get the jobless claim. We're going to get productivity and wholesale inventories. There's going to be some focus on this jobless claims report. I think a lot of people are anticipating a much worse number than this. Now, this is absolutely a case where good news could be bad news or vice versa. Bad news for this report could be a good thing for the market because it will add more pressure on the Fed to cut interest rates. The jobs report that came at the end of last week initially tanked the market on Friday, but you look at the way it's rebounded, 2 of the last 3 days, and that is primarily because of this hope and this expectation that there's more pressure on the Fed to cut rates. Also, you had the development of one of the Fed govs unexpectedly resigning, and that allows Donald Trump to add a member to the Fed, and he's already talking like this is going to be a shadow Fed chair. Someone who's going to push the agenda in spite of Jerome Powell, who absolutely, hates Donald Trump and has become way too political in his position. And I'm not confident that Trump's not going to put someone in there that's also going to be political, just in the other direction. And I don't like that in general, but I do not like what Powell is doing and the moves he's making and the way he's doing it. He's really trying to act like he's above the fray, but he is so overtly political. It's not even funny. Right now, there's a high expectation already that the Fed is going to cut in September. Equally high expectation that there will be, when I say equally high, I'm combining these. Also a very high percentage chance that there will be a cut in December as well. And again, I'm basing that on a combination of these three adding up to way more than where we're currently at. So I do think that a bad jobs number tomorrow, when I say jobs number, what I mean is the new unemployment claims. A bad number tomorrow on the jobless claims, meaning higher than the 220 expected, it might initially drop markets a little bit, but I think you'll have a repeat of what happened with the jobs number last week, where initially people will worry about a softening job market, and then they'll realize, wait a minute, that's good for the stock market because that's just a better chance, increased probability that the Fed has to cut rates. So that's what we're looking forward to tomorrow and Friday. I'm not hoping for more jobless claims, but I think that's what we're going to get and what we're going to see. So sit tight on the Q trade. I am going to make an adjustment to our Palantir collar trade. I'll do that when I'm done recording here. I'll put together an adjustment and send out for tomorrow morning. This trade is very profitable. It wouldn't be a horrible thing to cash out and maybe look for the next time Palantir is pulling back a little bit to get back in. But I think even though we're already out in November with the short calls, I think a rollout to January, February, or March to get those short calls out of the money and give it more room to move would not be a bad thing to do. And we'll roll the puts up to where it's trading right now, and maybe add a short put to it as well. So I'll get to work on an adjustment when I'm done with this recording. Probably by the time I'm posting this online, you'll have the adjustment in your inbox. And then we'll be set for tomorrow morning. My plan is to be live tomorrow morning. Hopefully no more internet issues. We've got some construction going on not too far from our house, and that's what Comcast blamed it on. I don't know if they cut a line, if they had to shut things down, but I was without all morning long. So glad to be back online, and I have every intention of being online live for a podcast tomorrow morning. All right. Thanks, everybody. Have a great rest of your day. Have a good day tomorrow. Bye-bye.